So guys, morning everybody. I think we're ready to start. Is everybody, if everybody is present, so let's kick off. Okay, welcome to another webinar of AUDAC Touch update 2.7. With the latest release, we'll be talking about the new features, the new device list and stuff like that. The webinar will consist of two parts. I will first give you a small presentation regarding AUDAC Touch, and later on in the second part we'll see in live how things can be put into practice. For the video screen, remember you can dock it to your right so it's not in the presentation of your screen. That being said, I think it's we're good to go. Let's kick off. So, AUDAC Touch Training Update 2.7. Maybe a quick reminder of what exactly AUDAC Touch can do for you. Well, remember, it's a total system control of your entire installation. You can create your custom dashboards where you can control your devices. Not only can you adjust settings or make total system control from the dashboard for multiple devices. So if you have a complete installation from one dashboard, you can control your entire system. It's freely downloadable, so we offer it for Linux, iOS, Windows, and Android. Check our website for the latest downloads. Some of its most unique features, what it can do for your installation, well, we implemented also the TouchLink technology, and it gives you full product controllability. So for example, the VEXO is also included in the latest release, of course, with the optional ANI 44XT installed. Maybe worth mentioning, sorry guys, I have also my colleagues in the chat box for you ready. They will be ready for your questions that might pop up during this webinar. They'd be happy to answer all of your questions. So also thank you guys for joining in. So most unique features, well, also complete wave dynamics integration. We knew this from AUDAC System Manager. It's now fully integrated also in AUDAC Touch 2.7. Also user configurable dashboard and third-party control. As you can see in this example, for example, I have a small dashboard where we have, or we can see, an air conditioning, ventilation and heater. This is probably the widget that is controlled by, for example, an ARU and sends out the contact to trigger the ventilation or the heater. Also, the lights can be operated by an external ARU. Also a beamer that is probably controlled over TCP by the commander function. So every device that has a network connection or a serial connection can be controlled by the commander function. We see the mixing sliders here, one master slider, an album cover, player controls, the clock, and now playing widget. So as you can see, it's a dashboard that contains multiple widgets that control multiple devices. So that commander function, what exactly does it do? Well, we need to talk about two things. One, third-party control and custom commands. So third-party control means that you can add third-party devices that have either a serial connection or a network connection. For the serial connection, you would need the optional APC 100. You can control it from one single dashboard, and it can accept ASCII or hex commands that are sent out through TCP IP. On the other hand, it can also provide custom commands for AUDAC devices. So in some cases you have widgets that are not available at that time. Let's say, for example, mute multiple outputs. You can send out that command by creating the command in the commander function and send it out to perform the action to your device. Take a look at our website for the downloads of the command structure of all our devices, and from there on you're good to go to implement it for the need that your device wants. Maybe worth mentioning that you will see in AUDAC Touch later on that some features or some widgets are in the premium function. Maybe the guys from the support chat can give some more information about that. Feel free to ask if you have questions about that one. Touch compatibility. Well, what devices are actually supported by AUDAC Touch? Well, of course, the speaker range, the VEXO, the new Siri range, with an optional ANI 44 installed. All of our matrices, such as the M2, R2, and the MTX series. Our amplifier range, AMP series, 203, 523, MFA series, and of course also the wave dynamics amplifiers, SMA, SMQ, PMQ. However, these would also require the optional ANI 44 XT card installed. For the audio players, of course, the XMP44 with all of its modules, IMP40, MMP40, the Bluetooth module BMP40, voice file triggering FMP40, DMP DAP Tuner 40, and the NMP Spotify Soundtrack Your Brand streaming module. These are supported by AUDAC Touch. The relay units, ARU1 series, and of course the ARU2 series, both compatible with AUDAC Touch, and of course third-party devices that you can send any TCP/IP command to. If your device that you want to control, like a beamer or for example an HDMI switcher which has a serial connection, then you would need the optional APC 100 to act as a bridge between your TCP/IP command and the RS-232 command. This is what is compatible with AUDAC Touch. Now, with the release of 2.7, we added some new features. So we have a new device list and device discovery approach. We have now linked devices included. We can probe devices. We have the mapping feature and some other things like a search bar in your device list. We'll go into detail later on, but these are the new functionalities that were added to 2.7. So that new device list and the device discovery, well, we need to talk about it, why we did that. Remember that in previous versions of AUDAC Touch, when you had your application launched in a certain VLAN, all the devices that were in that VLAN were added to your device list, meaning that if you ran your application on multiple VLANs, all the devices were added and your device list kept on growing and growing and growing. You did not have any control of how the information of your device was stored in the database. It was added, the device was there. And in the end, you had a huge list of devices that could be quickly become a mess, and you didn't have a clear overview. So that was the need that we took a different approach to the device discovery. Now you have two options. So you have the discovery on one hand that will search and probe for AUDAC devices and add them in the discovery list. And you as a user now have full control of what device that you want in your personal saved device list, so that you can only work with the devices that you want. That is the new discovery, the new device list and discovery. We also included linked devices. So remember that, for example, you had a setup with an M2, a second M2 connected through optical fiber, that the linked devices now also show up in the device list. And later on, you will see that you have the possibility in your dashboard to hop to the linked device also. So linked devices is also added, and you can search for those devices in your list also. Probe devices, we will see later on that, for example, if you have a device in your system and you want to replace that device, for example, and you need to put in a new device, that you don't need to reconfigure the whole thing. You just probe for a new device. It will search for a matching device on device type, and you have the possibility to add that device from the device that, for example, was broken. That's probing. More of that later on. The mapping feature is wonderful. In some cases, when your device was by accident deleted in your device list and you had a complete dashboard that was built up on that device, you would notice that your dashboard was completely, the widgets were completely gone, and you need to reconfigure the entire dashboard. Well, with the mapping feature now, you can link those widgets that were, well, offline or gone to the new device that AUDAC Touch will suggest to you. I have a wonderful example of that later on, how easy it is to get a broken dashboard fixed again. Mapping feature, wonderful. We also included the new color scheme. You might have noticed that we went from the blue color primary to the gold color, but also for other widgets that you add, like a trigger button, of course, you can add different colors to them. More of that later on in the practical part. Okay, so short introduction. I suggest we now go to the live demo. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask them in the chat box. Colleagues will help you out. I will now switch over to the live demo. Remember also to visit our website for more webinars on the education platform, and also for the website to find manuals like, for example, the command structure and stuff like that. You will find all of the information on our website. So, AUDAC Touch. I have now a user myself. Let's see, nothing really has changed inside the menu structure. That is all the same. Your device list now will look like this. As I mentioned before, you now have your own personal saved list, which is in my case empty. We'll start from scratch. I have the discovery page where I can look for AUDAC devices. However, if you run the update from a previous version, remember that devices that you were already, or that you had already in your list, will show up here. So nothing is lost. The device list as you knew before from the previous version after the update will show again here. So the first thing I would like to show you is how the discovery page works and what exactly happens when you add a device. So I click the discovery button. The discovery works in two ways. We will first look out who's there, what devices are out there, and then we will probe of the type of device. What exactly is the device? It will show up in my discovery list. And remember, I'm here in a quite big network environment, so it can take up some time before all the devices are found in the network. In this case, it already found my SMQ350 on the bottom here with the optional ANI44 module installed. I also have the XMP44 with 4 modules installed. I have 2 M2s linked with fiber. That's the setup I have here. And I have a third M2 as a standalone device. So that's the basic setup I have here. We'll be working with these devices to show the new features. So first things first, I want, for example, the XMP44 to be added to my personal saved list. You will see the plus arrow, the down arrow. It will tell me it's an XMP44 on this IP setting with this device address, the version, the firmware version, and the website version it's running, and also the modules that are installed where you can add or look for more information, device type, and the version they're running. So this is a handy tool to know what firmware versions the modules actually are running. If I want to add this device to my personal list, well, very easy. You just click on the plus. It will prompt me and say, okay, this is the device that you want to add. You can check for additional info. If all is correct, I will save it and it's in my saved list. This is one way. So let's take another one. For example, the first fiber, the M2. You will notice that for the XMP, the icon has changed, meaning that this device now is in my saved list. All the devices that show a plus sign can be added. So logistics fiber, in this case, one device linked. Want to add this device, IP setting, the device ID, the linked box. We'll get into detail on that one later on. In this case, I leave it unmarked and I save the device. This is my linked device through optical fiber. Maybe I want to add one also. For this now, I will leave it. I will also add the technical department fiber too. And let's take a look in our saved list. So these are devices that are added now, 3 simple devices. If I go to the XMP44, it will prompt me for the password, which I can remember. And this is the first pop-up I get. So this is new. From the past, when you had your device added to your device list or in your device list, you had absolutely no control of what was saved in the cloud, in the device, or in the database. What it shows me now is that, okay, you have changed the password because it was an empty value and now I've put a password in. AUDAC Touch is asking me, well, the modules, I get some more information on those. For example, on the NMP40, IMP40, and it prompts me and it tells me exactly what do you want to do with this. Do you want to save this information inside your database or not? Well, of course we want to do that. So we click on save, meaning that this information is stored in the cloud and for all other users that log in will get the same information. So this is new. Remember that in the past you had no control whatsoever of your device. If you look at an M2, for example, direct control of my M2. If I go to my settings tab, again, prompted for the password. I will remember the password, okay. Again, a pop-up showing me again, okay, something has changed on the M2, in this case, your password. Again, you can choose to save it to the cloud or leave it like this. Well, in this case, for example, if I say, or I wish not to save it, and I change, for example, the device name to fiber, let's say 3, save it. You will see I get again the pop-up because previous I did not save it. So AUDAC Touch knows, hey, the password was changed. You forgot to save it. Now you changed the name. So I will prompt you again. What do you want to do? In this case, let's save it. And I will never be asked again to that something has changed. The database is synced. Everything is in sync now. Of course, I need to add more devices, so let's go back to the discovery page. I already included 2 of my M2s, the XMP. So again, discover. So this is the PMQ I have in my rack here. Again, save the device. I have an M2 maintenance that I would like to show you guys that this is an M2 in my system that needs some kind of upgrade, hardware upgrade, or the device needs to be removed from installation. And I need to put another device in to keep the system running. So I named it maintenance M2 to make you guys clear that in my safe list I have now a maintenance M2 that we need to replace later on. So I hope you guys get the view of how that discovery page now works and how to save that information in the database. I would like to show you now for the XMP44 the mapping feature. So what I did was I created the dashboard on the XMP44 previous. Then I deleted all my devices, and of course what AUDAC Touch does, it assigns a unique ID to each device. So meaning that my dashboard now of course doesn't work anymore. So I need to find a way to reassign the widgets I have here that went offline or doesn't work anymore and reconnect them to the XMP I just added to my saved list. So I have this XMP44 and I want my dashboard that's broken to be operational again on this XMP44. Very easy to do. You go to your dashboard, you go to the edit mode, you go to the settings tab, map widgets, and it will tell me, look, the device that you, or the widgets that you implemented in your dashboard, the device is not available anymore, but you can change the device to, and it will give me an option on the XMP44 that was already in my saved list. So let's click that one, click on the map feature, and you will see that the entire dashboard with the widgets for the XMP44 will come back online. You save your dashboard and these are back online. These 4 widgets were assigned to the M2. They're zone sliders. Of course, I need to do the same procedure with the M2. This is how easy mapping works if you get a dashboard that doesn't work anymore. So let's say that these 4 zone sliders need to be assigned to the maintenance M2. You map them and you will see that these will also come back online. This is a very handy feature and was in previous version a bit difficult to get your dashboard back working again. Okay. Let's take a look now at a setup I made with my M2 that needs that maintenance procedure. So I have a device, maintenance M2, and let's build a dashboard on that one. Very simple dashboard. I will just take some zone sliders or output number 1. Two, third output, and maybe a 4th output. I will also add maybe the device name so I can show you what happens. Okay, very simple dashboard. Maybe put it at full zone sliders. Okay. Prompt me for the password because this is the first time I make a connection to my maintenance M2. So you type in the password. If you remember that password and you click OK, this means that every user that logs in with these credentials, even on another device, will have this password saved. Again, prompted for the change. Do I wish to save this in the cloud database? Of course I want to do that. Save. And I can begin to control my device. Now, in practice, for example, let's say that this device needs to be removed, maintenance, and I have another M2 that I want to put in place. That's where the probe function comes in place. So what I'm going to do now is, in my device list, the maintenance M2, let's switch the device off. There's no need to log out, but I'm going to do this to show you that the device is really not accessible anymore. Okay, devices, they're still there. But the maintenance M2, if I click on that one, can't access it anymore. Of course not, because it is offline. It's been removed from my system. What I can do now is I will hook up my replacement M2. It boots up, it's hooked up to the network, and what I can do now is use the probe function on my maintenance M2 to assign it to my replacement M2. So if you click on the dots, you have the properties of added connection. Tells me I can't connect to it. That's normal. So you can delete, log out settings, and you have the probe function. So let's use that probe function. And what it does now is it's going to look for similar devices that can be used to replace my broken M2. So it finds the fiber optic devices, but it also has found my replacement M2. The replacement M2, if I click on it, I can save it in my list. And this replacement M2 has taken over the function of this M2. But beware that the settings of your device, like for instance zone naming, any settings that you made on the device, priorities or whatever on the M2, that is also only on this device. If you want to implement that in your replacement device, you have to use AUDAC System Manager to get the set file out of your broken device and re-import it in your replacement M2. And that way, all the settings have been implemented in your replacement M2. So if I click on this one, this is a device now that has been swapped. If I go to my dashboard, you will see that the dashboard is back operational again. So that is what, for instance, the probe function does. Okay. About linking devices, well, the setup I have here is two M2s connected through optical fiber. So I have logistics fiber, I have technical department fiber, which I can control. This is logistics fiber. This is technical, again, first time connection. This is the technical department fiber device. Since these are hooked up with fiber, you have one device that is connected to the network and the second device will be discovered as a linked device. So the setup I have here, both devices are connected on the network, but in some cases you have one M2 connected to the network, and you have, let's say, 3, 4, 5 M2s connected by fiber. These can also be discovered, and you can click on your device, in this case logistics fiber. If I search for linked devices, it should pop up with the technical department fiber device. So give it some time. Here it is, under the logistics fiber, you have the technical department fiber. I click on the plus arrow and notice that the device has the linked checkbox enabled. So Touch knows that this is a linked device. If I save this to my database, you will see that in the M2 of logistics, it says you have one linked device. If you click it open, this is technical department fiber 2 which is accessible through the IP of my direct device. Now, wonderful about this is that if I click on my device, which I can control now, so logistics fiber, remember that the technical department connected through optical can be accessed with the link device option. And this is something that we had previous in the web interface, and now we also have this in 2.7. This is really handy that you can hop to another device by the linked options here. So again, remember password, save it to the database. This is my linked device that I can control now. Since linked devices do not carry VU information over fiber optic, you will see that the VU information on this device is gone. If I go to the direct device, I still have the VU information. Now, this is very important information because I'll get into detail later on, but it is important that in your saved list here, it is very important that you define your device in the correct way. So this one is a direct device. It has the link checkbox unchecked. The technical department fiber is the link device. And if you click on the properties, you will see that the link device box is checked. Now, in the past, what we had is that when you did the update from, let's say, previous version to 2.7, we didn't allow that link devices had VU information. So if you have a dashboard that was created in the previous versions, and you had, let's say, a volume slider with VU information, you did the update, but your device was in the database stored as a linked device for whatever reason, because in 2.6.2 and previous versions you did not have any control of how that information was stored in the cloud. It could be that you had a direct device, so a standalone M2, which was marked in the database as a linked device. And that would mean that if you did the update, afterwards your dashboard would break because that VU information was not available. You had it marked as a linked device. So the thing that you needed to do was uncheck or unmark the checkbox of your linked device. But in the latest release, so 2.7.1, we already fixed this. We allow that. And the only thing you need to do is listen to your customers when they run the update, and you get a report afterwards that they tell you, look, I did the update, but now all of a sudden I don't have any view information anymore, then you need to look at the properties of your device in your saved list and look if it's a direct device or a linked device. Maybe an example will tell you more of this. Let me show you. So again, new dashboard. Let's add a widget on an M2, and I will take again the replacement because this is a standalone device. We'll take one zone slider on output 1. Of course, this has view information. You'll see the dots. If I go to my device list and my M2 here, replacement M2, is of course a direct device, I'm going to define it as a linked device. Of course, what happens is in your dashboard, the view information is gone. So you have to take care that after the update, it's maybe a good idea to check the properties of the device if everything is still correct. It doesn't break anything, but if you get, like I said, remarks from customers and say, I had a complete dashboard, I had wonderful view information, did the update, no view information, then you need to take a look at your device here and check for maybe the properties here, if it's a linked device or a direct device. So I'll unmark it again, direct device, go to my dashboard, and again I have view information. Okay, so last thing I want you to show is in your device list. I don't have a lot of devices now, but in some big installations it can be difficult to find the right device that you want to control. Well, we've implemented a search bar that works like an OR function, so you can add multiple things to search for. Let's say I want to look for all the M002 devices. It will show me the M002 devices, or I want to look for a XMP, or I want to look at a certain range, for example 10.28. It will show me all the devices with and or hardware address, or for example, is it a linked device? It will show me linked devices, or is it a link and two multiple possibilities in your search bar. So guys, I hope that makes sense to you. Maybe I can also show you here. This is a FMP40 event trigger button. As I talked earlier on, if I go in edit mode, so we now have the style. So if I say it's a success, you will see it goes green. We have multiple options here, neutral, blue. So that was the color scheme we were talking about. It gives you some extra possibilities on your dashboard. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they also control, like for other devices, ARU trigger buttons and stuff like that. It's also supported on those widgets, of course. But you will get the idea if you go in edit mode. I don't have an ARU here, sorry. So, but it is possible, yeah. And also, of course, the icon here that you can choose from, multiple icons. That is the idea behind it. So guys, we talked about the new device list, the discovery list, the saved list. You now know how to map widgets if for some reason your device or your dashboard got broken. If you want a device to be replaced in your system by a new one, you know how to use the probe function on that one. And for linked devices by optical fiber, you now have the possibility to search for those and also get access them from your control page of the device. So I think we covered most of it. If you have specific questions, ask them in the support chat box. We'll leave the chat box open for, let's say, 10 minutes. From my side, thank you for watching this webinar. Make sure you check out our website and the education platform for other videos of AUDAC Touch. You will find tons of information there. So big thank you for you guys from my side and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.